there's some static happening, okay? It's happening. I packed this in my suitcase, and then I put it on. And I was like, well, you have two choices, Rach. You can either have static, or you can have sweat stains in your pits. Choose. We're going with static, so go ahead and judge, but it's better than the alternative. All right, so I asked the same three things of every single audience that I get to speak to, and I'm gonna ask the same of you guys today. Is it possible, people who control the power here, God, is it possible to raise it so I could see the audience? Oh yes, you're so pretty. Does that bother you? Do you feel like the lights in your eyes? Are you okay? Third row, you good? Okay, good. So, I asked the same three things of every crowd that I get to speak to, and I'm gonna ask that of you guys today. The first thing that I'm gonna ask you to do is to show up in this space as your authentic self. And what I mean by that is oftentimes when we come into communities like this one, particularly communities that have a lot of women, is that we like to pretend. Not you guys, you would never do something like that. You would never pretend that your life was perfect. You would never pretend like you had it all together. You would never say that your business was doing better than it actually was. You would never do those things, I know. But sometimes, when we come into community like this, there is this desire to go to that old saying, that old like, fake it till you make it. Whoever heard fake it till you make it? I hate that phrase. Because all that happens when you fake it is you alienate yourself from the community of people who could actually help you. This is an incredible group. These are the leaders that are in this room. And when you pretend that it's all okay when it's not, you hurt yourself. Who has a friend, like not a close friend, but maybe someone you went to like middle school with or high school with, and you're friends with them on Facebook, and they're always talking about how in love they are? Anyone have a friend who's like, oh, my boo, no, my boo, and they're like vacationing, and they're swimming on that island where people swim with the pigs? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Anyone have a friend like that? And then they get divorced? Have you ever known anyone on social who pretended life was, here I am, here's my new car, here I am, here's my new house, here's all of these things, and then all of a sudden they're filing for bankruptcy? Anyone know what I'm talking about? Nobody knows what I'm talking about? Y'all, thank you. Okay, so the problem with that is we are so busy pretending that we're swimming laps that nobody knows we're drowning. Nobody can throw you a rope if you don't tell them that you need it. So in this space, while you are here, in this time, while you are here at this event, and with me, I want you to show up as your authentic selves. Can you do that? Yes. The second thing I'm gonna ask you to do, I can already tell that I need, okay? I need you to actually respond to me. Hello. Now we all come from different backgrounds, but I grew up as a Pentecostal preacher's daughter, okay? Which means that I grew up sitting in a congregation and having someone teach from a stage. And in my church, if you didn't respond to the pastor, you know, they thought you were dead, okay? So I need you to actually respond to me. So when I say, does anyone, know what that's like? I need you to raise your hand. Practice it right now. Practice. Oh, look how good you are. Look at that. All right, and then I'm like, hey, have you guys ever encountered that? I need you to audibly yell back at me. Yes, no, sometimes, right? All right, can you respond to me as I give this talk today? Thank you. The third thing that I need you to do is go all in. Meaning, I have 52 minutes left with you right now. And there is a chance that some of the stuff I will talk about or some of my sweet, sweet dance moves are gonna seem weird or awkward to you. And you're gonna already be judging, or you're already inside your head thinking of all the ways that this won't work or this doesn't apply to you. Save it for 53 minutes from now. The very first time I took my team to a conference, I said, guys, let's go all in. And when we leave here on Saturday, we can be like, oh, that speaker was the worst, or that thing was so weird, or the room was so hot, or whatever. But save it for Saturday, save it for later. While you're here, you're gonna get the most out of this time together if you just let yourself ask questions and not cast judgment. Can you do that? Awesome. So, one of the things that I think is so powerful at an event like this is the information that you get. Who is here for the very first time? Who is at leadership for the first time? Can we clap for people who are at leadership for the first time? Because I know how hard it is to work your way up to a certain level. I know how hard it is to want, like how many of you who are here for the first time, like, or how many of you have this experience? You wanted to come to something like this for so long. You wanted to earn it, and then you finally got it, and you were like, yes, right? I feel like oftentimes we're so busy trying to get to the next thing, or trying to take care of the babies, or trying to deal with the bills. Sorry, my accent showed up. The bills. We're trying to deal with the bills. We're so busy trying to do these things that we don't take a minute to stop and acknowledge where we are. So I just want to acknowledge those of you who have gotten to this for the very first time. I also want to acknowledge real quick, did anyone travel here and it was super scary to travel because you're traveling by yourself, or because you've never left home, or you've never left the kids? You had to tell your husband they were his kids too? Was anyone nervous about traveling? Yes, that is scary. So congratulations to you for that. So you come to these events and you get a ton of information, right? Like, they're gonna give you so much information, you're gonna go into breakouts, you're gonna learn all the different things. And I used to go to conferences like this, and I would be so on fire. If you've come to something before, when you leave, are you just like, yes, right? Does anyone have someone at home who's like nervous about you coming back from this conference? That's Dave, man. He'd always be like, oh, please, just, what are you even gonna say, right? Because I'll be like, honey, we are selling our home and we build rockets now. That is what I learned at conference. So you leave these kind of things and you're so fired up, and then a week goes by, and you got babies, and you have bills, and you have stress, and you have responsibility, and you have school drop-off, and you have things that are due, and all of a sudden, the momentum that you had is lost. Who's ever experienced that? And you wonder, you're like, how in the world did I ever feel like I could take on the world? How did I feel like that? And so you trick yourself into thinking that you gotta come back, right? You trick yourself, and by the way, you should wanna come back. They're gonna throw awesome events. But don't lie to yourself that the only way to get pumped up and the only way to be motivated to do the job that you wanna do is by continuing to come to events that will feed it to you. Does that resonate? Yeah. So today, I wanna talk about what's going to throw you off. Because whenever I went to conferences, nobody said, hey, by the way, 3 Tuesdays from now, you're gonna look at someone else's business and it's gonna discourage you so hard you don't do work for the next month, right? If we don't talk about what might show up in our path, then our chances of actually doing the thing that we wanna do, our chances of staying on course diminish. So today, I wanna talk about the fun, rah-rah, here's the sales, that's awesome. They are gonna feed you with that. Right now, Mama's gonna give you some truth, okay? So, let's talk about the thing that most often throws people off in a community like this one. And here's what I want you to do. If I say a thing that applies to you, I want you to go, that's me. All right? Practice that. That's me. Yes, thank you. So, one of the number one things that will throw you off when you leave here is comparison. Comparison. Comparison, comparison, comparison. Because from the time that we were little, and by the way, I love that there are guys here. I'm mostly gonna talk to the ladies. We've been dealing with it for like 500 years. You can handle it for 50 minutes, okay? So, from the time we were little girls, from the time we were little girls, now I don't know, maybe you all grew up in school and you felt from the time that you were born until right now you always fit in. You always feel like you look the right way, you dress the right way, you talk the right way. Me, not so much. When I was little, I had shark teeth, which is a really sweet way of describing the 2 rows of teeth. I had both top and bottom. Real attractive. My siblings came up with that nickname. There goes shark teeth. Thank you, guys. So I had baby teeth that were there and then just didn't want to leave, like in-laws who just don't want to leave town. And so my big girl teeth started growing in and my baby teeth were like, we ain't leaving, girl. So I had 2, did anyone here have 2 rows of teeth? That guy, me and that guy, that's it. Shark week, right here, brother. So I had 2 rows of teeth. I played clarinet. And maybe you went to a school where playing 8th chair clarinet was cool. I did not. And my family struggled financially, so we bought clothes from the Goodwill, which also is a sure way to make sure the popular kids like you. They're like, I think that was my Aunt Linda's shirt that you're wearing. So I had all of these things that made me feel like an outsider. And from a very early age, I would look at the popular girls. I would look at the girls that I thought were pretty. I would look at the girls that felt like they had an easier life than me, and I would think, man, if only I could have those jeans. If only I could have that hair. If only I could have her orthodontist. If only I could have these things, then it'll be easier for me. And the thing is, y'all do that right now in life, but you also do it in business. Tell me, have you ever been in a situation where you're feeling nervous, you're feeling insecure, you're not really sure what you should do with your business next, and you decide to do some research? Meaning, I'm gonna go scroll Instagram for the next 3 hours and look to see how she's doing it or how they're doing it so I know how I should be doing it. Anyone do that? Right? So there is this like deep thing in us that says when we're unsure or when we're insecure about something that we need to look outside of ourselves for the answers. And my best example of this in life is when I was a new mom. Who here has children? Where are the parents here? All right, a lot of you. Is anyone here pregnant for the first time? No. Okay, earmuffs. Just go ahead, put them on right like this. Okay, just her. All right. I am so grateful to my soul that I was able to carry my children. I know so many women who would kill for that opportunity and never got it. I'm so grateful. That being said,
it's hard.
I hated being pregnant.
That's me.
Hated. All cap letters, like my grandma typing on Facebook. All caps. Hated. And here's who hated being pregnant? Here's my favorite question. Who loved being pregnant?
That's me.
Boo. You ever seen that scene in The Princess Bride? Boo. That's me. I'm the witch. No, I love it. I have friends who are like, they just were earth mothers. They loved it. They would like carry a stranger's baby. Oh my gosh, pregnancy was awful. My husband's 6'4", I'm 5'2". We make giant babies. I also am an emotional eater, so I handle my pain through chicken strips. I just gained all the way and I was so uncomfortable. And I stupidly thought if I could just make it to labor, we'd be fine. Rach, come on. I stupidly thought like, okay, just get the baby out of you, you're gonna be golden. First of all, my oldest son, 52 hours of back labor. 52! Have you ever heard those stories where an old man passes away and then every year on his wife's birthday, flowers show up because he arranged it with a florist? That's gonna be me. I'm gonna be gone to heaven and Jackson's still just gonna get like a card, 52. So I'm in labor and it's awful, and if you're, for my friend who's not familiar or someone, it just, it's like, have you ever seen those time-lapse photos of a rocket ship taking off? And it just destroys everything on the way out. You can tell I usually talk to audiences that are only women. Sorry, it's true. You know what I'm talking about, where like the fuselage flies off and they're like, well, we can never use that again. Same, okay? And then they do not tell you, you don't know any of the things that are coming. Nobody tells you about the mesh underwear. You'll find out soon. It's gonna confuse you, but then you'll like them. I'm wearing some right now. They don't tell you about the mesh underwear. They don't tell you about the squirt bottle. That's the one. The guys don't know what I'm talking about when I say mesh underwear, but they know the squirt bottle. They were like, oh, that was my job. Water only, okay? Warm. There's all these things. You're like, your body's like all crazy, and now you gotta take care of a human life, and it's so hard. And I like to tell people that about 6 weeks is when the wheels start to fall off after a new baby. Because the first few weeks, I mean, your mama's still in town, and she's making you casseroles that make you think you can do it, and you got endorphins and all that stuff going through you, but you're like, I got this. And then for me, I was really blessed in that I got to parent with a partner, but then he went back to work. And I was home by myself with this child trying to keep him alive. And holy smokes, it all started to go downhill. And I remember about 6 weeks in, Dave had gone back to work, and because I was staying home with our son at the time, I was like, okay, well, I'll take care of the baby, and you just keep living your life. I got it, because I was dumb as a box of rocks. And I didn't know better, so I was really tired. And I remember one morning, Saturday morning, and he wakes up. And in my mind, I'm sure it didn't happen. I'm sure it didn't happen like this in real life. But in my mind, he stretches his little kitten paws, and he says, "I'm tired." Have you ever seen that show Snapped? If you're not familiar, it's a show on television where seemingly normal people just snap, kill everybody. That was me. And I have never before or since had a moment where I was both laughing and crying simultaneously. And I lost my mind, and I was like, okay, all right, well, I hope you're prayed up, because you're about to meet Jesus tonight, son, because I'm going to strangle you with the cords of my breast pump, and then my mom is going to have to raise this baby, and you know what? I'm going to prison because I murdered my husband. You know what? In prison, lights out at 9 p.m. Am I right? I'm just saying. I lost my mind a little bit. And I can now look back and understand that I was exhausted and I was so unsure, and it's such a huge responsibility to be a mom. But at the time, I believed that the reason I felt nervous and the reason it was so hard for me was because I wasn't a good mom. I was so sure that I was failing, and so I thought, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go and see how other moms parent, and that's gonna tell me how I should do this. And in my day, we didn't have Instagram. New mama, if I had Instagram, just take it off your phone, just take it right off. But in my day, Pinterest was the thing. And I understand that Pinterest is still the thing, But 12 years ago, it was a really big deal. And anyone have like a 12-year-old-ish child? Anyone throw the like elaborate Pinterest birthday parties and we had to hand sew the moccasins? And we had to make, remember the birthday crown phase? We had to make a birthday crown out of felt so we could be like British people. Anyone? We just want to be like Peppa Pig's family. That's all we're trying for. So I started to do research how other moms were doing it, and every single time I went and did research, all I saw were all the ways I was not measuring up. Because every single time you go on social media to find the answers, you are looking at a visual representation of someone's very best moment and comparing it to your very real life. How often do you go onto social to do research and leave feeling better? No, tell me, who here ever goes on social media, you start scrolling, so you're like, oh, I want to see how that team does it, or I want to see what's happening over here, and it robs you of motivation. Does it ever make you feel worse? And not just about business, but about life. Like, oh, my body doesn't look like hers, or my hair doesn't look like hers. These are extension, guys. You can have these too. I mean, I don't know how to do this. Someone else gave this to me. There are extensions. The thing is, you know, like when you go to post something on social, tell me, when you take, like who posted a selfie or a picture while they were coming here or coming to conference, yeah? Yeah? And when you posted it, did you make sure and just get real low? Do you make sure and do it in the dark so your skin looks super good? Yeah? No! You went up high, you put a hand on your hip, you bent over a little bit, 'cause that helps too, right? You took 9,000 photos to get that one. You filtered it. Filter. Some of you did a double filter, that's a thing. Some of you use Facetune. Don't lie to me. Your face does not look like that. You are not a doll. Your face does not look like that. So why is it that when you post something, you know the amount of effort that you go through? But when you see her post something, you assume, oh my gosh, Becky's killing it and I suck. Guys, comparison is the death of joy. The second that you start comparing your life to hers, your marriage to theirs, your relationship to those people, your business to that business, the second you start to compare, you take all of the wind out of your sails. Amen. So why do you do it? Like literally, shout it out at me. What drives you to go get on the computer, to go get on social and be like, I'm just gonna real quick check and see what's happening. And dude, I know this is a space where everyone's supposed to be perfect and we're not supposed to ever admit that we look at the, oh, we're not competitors, we're all I know. But be honest with me right now. Why do you do it? Shout it out. What drives you there? Fear? Fear of what? Fear of failure. Who said that? Yes, ma'am. Fear of failure. And then how does looking at her success keep you from failing? Yeah, I'm talking to you, sis who raised her hand. I got it. Yep, me and you. Right now, we're in a conversation. Yep. How does, you said fear of failure is what drives you to look. So how does looking at what someone else is doing in their life make you more successful? Gut reaction. What's the first thing you think of? What? What they have is what I want. Does anyone ever do that? What they have is what I want. So you're like, I gotta go see it, because if I can't see it, I don't know what it is that I want. Partially, she says. And I appreciate you being honest, and I appreciate you answering, because when we do this, people in the room hear themselves. And what I want us to do is speak the things we think in our heads. I want to speak them out loud. Because y'all, when you speak them out loud, then other people around you could be like, what? That's nuts. Do you know where it is you want to go in life? With your business, with yourself, with your family, with everything. You know where you want to go. So then you don't actually need to see what she's doing in order to know where you're going. So she wants to get there now instead of 5 years from now. Okay, we're gonna go on a quick tangent. What's your name? Katie? Thank you so much, Katie. Everyone give it up for Katie. We weren't gonna go here, but Katie set us up so beautifully. So I'm gonna tell you another thing that's gonna throw you off. Thinking that it's supposed to happen now. Thinking that it's supposed to happen now. And I'm not challenging you and I'm not trying to bash you. This is with all the love in my heart. What you see right now is 15 years of work. 15. If I'm able to stand on stage and do awkward dance moves and maybe make you laugh and maybe teach you something, it is because for a decade, I've been standing in front of crowds and trying to learn how to communicate with them. When I first wanted to learn how to be a speaker, it was because I went to business conferences or I went to personal development conferences and I loved them, and I was like, why are there no women on stage? Why are there no women on stage? Where are the women? And that started this little what if in my heart, like, well, what if I could be on stage? But in order for me to have that dream, in order for me to go to the place that I want to go, like you want to go, Katie, in order for that to be true, I had some work to do. And the only way to get to your goal is to do the work. Yes. Like, you're like, people are like, I wish that I could speak like you. And I'm like, great, go speak anywhere they will let you in the door. I learned how to be a speaker by standing on stage in front of MOPS groups, in front of old folks' homes, because they can't leave the room. They're locked in. I stood there, and I used to have to write my notes on cards. I would have a stack of cards this thick. And by the way, I keep the videos on YouTube. If you go scroll all the way back to my YouTube, you can see pictures of me with a stack of note cards and my hands shaking so hard, trying to do the work to have the life that I want to have. The problem is that social media now makes everybody think that there's a magic bullet, that there's a quick, faster, easier, I can just slide on up. Everyone, right now I'm doing press for this new book and everyone's like, oh my gosh, what does it feel like to be an overnight success? And I'm like, just because you finally know who I am doesn't mean I haven't been working at this for a really long time. I love the reminder that there isn't a fast pass here. This is not Disneyland. You can't buy your way to the front of the line. I love that reminder. You know why? Because it equalizes the playing field. My entire life, I looked at other people when I was little and I was like, man, if only our family had that, or if only we could be this. And I love the fact that if you work hard and you work smart and you're willing to stick with it, you can have the thing that you're working for. You can have the business, you can have the relationship, you can have the family, you can have the health, you can have living debt-free, you can have whatever it looks like in your life if you're willing to stick with it. The problem is that so many people leave because it gets hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You start moving down the path. It's like, I'm obsessed with this idea right now that everyone talks about the life they want to have. They're like, that is the mountaintop that I want to get to. Anyone have a mountaintop that they're aiming for? Anyone have a mountaintop? So if you don't have a mountaintop, I don't know what you're doing here, leadership team. I had this vision, like, this is the place that I want to go, and then people start out on the path. Like some of you are right now experiencing this. You're on the path, and you feel like life starts to kick you. You feel like stuff pops up that never happened before. You feel like friends are saying things they never did, or family's not supportive, or suddenly it gets hard. Anyone try to set out on a path to a dream and it got harder? Yeah. And the thing is, most people give up because it gets hard. But here's what I'm obsessed with. The valley that you're walking through, this valley of pain, this valley of trauma, this valley of hardship, this valley of life kicking you, this valley is what you need to walk through to get the strength to get to the top of the mountain. You keep saying, this is what I want to have, and life's like, okay, well sis, in order to have that, these are the muscles that you're going to need. This is the skin that needs to be thick enough. This is the shoulders that have to be strong enough to carry this much responsibility. Life's like, you want it? I'll give it to you. But you start getting kicked and you think that that means that you're not supposed to do this, when in reality, that was the only way to get to what you wanted. It's not gonna be quick, Katie, but it is gonna be worth it.
Yes.
It's not gonna be quick, and it's not gonna be easy, and it's maybe not even gonna be with support of people that you wish would be supportive of you. But it's coming. And I just want you to acknowledge that you don't need to go look at her life to know how you should be living. You know, in your heart. And the second that you start to look outside yourself, you rob yourself of joy. Do you understand? All right. The second, well, okay, I did two. So I'm going to say the third thing that's going to throw you off is the voice in your head. We all know the one, right? Who has a voice in their head telling them all the things? This is why you're this is why you're that, this is why you're not smart enough, this is why you're not strong enough, this is why you're too young, this is why you're too old, right? We've had that voice probably since most of us were little. Guys, do you feel like you have a voice in your head, or is that just a special girl thing? Guy thing too, allegedly. The voice in your head is like, you're so powerful. You're so strong. Our voice is like, you're a terrible mother and everyone hates you. Here's the thing I would challenge you to do before you go back home, is I would love for you to create some space for yourself. Give yourself 20 minutes and open up a piece of paper and a journal. And I want you to write down what the voice in your head says. Don't question it. You can burn the paper when you're done so nobody ever has to see. Don't think about it. Just write everything. These are all the ways you're not going to measure up. I want you to actually say the things that this voice normally says that you don't say out loud. Because here's what throws me off. Imagine for a second that the voice in your head, everyone, think of some of the things that it says to you. All the reasons, right? Can you shout them out at me? What are some of the things that the voice in your head says? You don't know enough. What else?
Not good enough.
Not good enough. What else? Not skinny enough. What else? You cannot do it. You're a bad mom. All of the things, right? And here's what freaks me out. Imagine the voice in your head. Think of all the things. Now give that voice a physical manifestation. If you had to imagine the voice in your head as a real person, think of what he or she would look like, right? I'll give you mine. Feel free to use her. Her name is Pam. She has Kate Gosselin's haircut from John and Kate Plus A. Not Kate Gosselin now. Kate Gosselin when the show first started. You guys know what I'm talking about? Pam always wants to speak to the manager. She's always upset, right? She's that. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? You need to think of a physical manifestation of the voice in your head. And then, I want you to imagine the next time that you hear those things, that she's standing in front of you, or he's standing in front of you. Now imagine this. You're in your house, in front of your kids, in front of your partner, in front of your friends, and Pam walks in. And Pam gets in your face and tells you that you're ugly, and you're fat, and you're a bad mom, and you suck, and you're mean. Because the thing is, y'all yelled out things that were sweet. You were sweet. And if you write down the actual things that are in your head, statistically, you will be mortified at how hard you are on yourself. And I'm telling you that if this woman walked into my house and started saying these things in front of my babies, in front of my partner, in front of my friends, I would be like, you are crazy and you need to leave my house or I'm gonna call the police, right? Like, I'm gonna get ghetto real fast. We did not mess around on Weed Patch Highway, okay? Right? If someone walks in your house and starts saying the things to you that happen in your head, would you kick them out of your house? And yet this voice has been living with you for most of your life and you don't do anything to stop it. You would never let someone speak to you the way you speak to yourself. You would never let someone speak to your children the way you speak to yourself. And yet, even when you've learned to ignore it, and even when you've learned to outrun it, and even if you're like me, where are the achievers in the room? High achievers, yes, right? We're like, I'll run faster. I'll go harder. I'll get up earlier. I will outrun the voice in my head instead of acknowledging that it's there. Does that resonate with anybody? It's there. And it's not going away. If it's been with you, how many have had that voice in your head since you were little? So what hope do you have that you're going to get rid of it now? You think if you make it to the next level, you think if you take your business to the next spot, you think that if you could just fit into these size jeans or just know how to contour your cheeks or just have kids that, hey, they graduated high school, you think that if you can do things, you think that you can outperform the hateful voice in your head. And I'm here to tell you that no matter what you do, it will still be there. Because that voice in your head is a habit that has been with you so long, you don't even think about it anymore. You need to actively acknowledge all the things that are in here. The voice in our head usually circles around all of the ways that we're not enough. Does that resonate? We all have our personal brand of not enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not young enough. What are your not enoughs? Why aren't you gonna do it? Because here's the thing, we come here and we get real fired up and we're like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. But I promise you that most of this room already has the voice going, no, you're not. You'll never do it. You'll never be back here. You barely made it this time. You don't know how to lead people. Does this sound like anybody's voice in their head? Thank you for your honesty. Everybody has their own brand of not enough. What's yours? Shout it out at me. Not good enough. What else? Not smart enough. What else? What? No friends. I don't have enough friends. I don't have a community. I don't have connection. What else? I know it's scary, but you know what? So is going through this stuff by yourself. So grow some courage and shout out your not enough.
Not enough time.
Not enough time. Not good enough on social media. Don't know what to do. Okay, here's my not enough. For years and years and years, I struggled to grow my business. I would make little increments, and for me, for years, my business hovered just under $1 million. Just under $1 million. And every year, I get to the end of the year, I'm like, this is the year we break through, this is the year. But I could never get past that number. And I listened to a podcast, and it blew my mind. It's an old episode of the Entre Leadership podcast with Clay Mask, if you want to write it down. So good. It's on the idea of psychological thresholds in business, okay? So for me, and often for other people, anyone hovering right under a number in revenue or right under a certain amount of team members and they just can't get past it, anyone here? So for me, I was that $1 million, and so I heard this guy talk about it, and he said it's a psychological threshold, and what you will do if you're not mindful of it is you will start to self-sabotage. You will actually prohibit yourself from going past it not knowing, right? And for me, it was because I did not grow up with money, and $1 million is more, even today, than I can even, that number's insane, right? And so I stuck there forever, and I finally was like, Rachel, come on. Because any problem in a business, I want you to listen to me. Any problem in a business is the result of the psychology at the top. Yes. Any problem in a business, either because you have put people into positions of power who don't deserve to be there, or you do not have the tools to make change. Either way, it's the problem of the person. Who's at the top? Here. I thought I was in a room with a bunch of leaders. Yeah? Yes. So, here's the thing. When people hear that, it goes two ways. Either they hear, yep, that's right. I knew it. I was the problem all along. I'm why, right? We go to shame. Anyone go to a shameful place when they hear that kind of thing? Thank you for your honesty. Here's what I heard. I heard, I'm the problem, which means I'm the solution.
Yeah.
Which means if I can figure this out, which means if I can be self-aware, which means if I can be honest about what I'm struggling with, then I can get us past this place. So I'm like, I'm doubling down, right? I'm gonna read all the books. I got really excited. There's a great book called The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. Write that down, read it, so good. So I read this book and I got so fired up because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna sell all the things. We're gonna do it. And you have to know too, just as if you don't know this about my story, I have a high school diploma. So I'm trying to figure out, like a lot of you, I'm trying to figure out how to run a business, and like the person who said, I don't know what to do, that was me. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I read this book and I get super fired up and I want to increase our sales, but as I'm going through it and making notes, I realize that I don't understand enough about finances to really understand this book. Because I suck at math. Anyone suck at math? I understand. I suck at math. And so, though it hurts me to tell you this now, for years, I was an entrepreneur and I had a team of people who counted on me, but I did not look at our accountant. I had an accountant whose job it was to make sure we did our taxes, we got our bills paid on time, everyone got their salary on time, but as long as we had enough money, I didn't look because I didn't want to know. Who doesn't look at either business or personal finances because you don't want to know? Thank you for your honesty. That was me. But dude, there is so much power in knowledge, and if you do not know your finances, you're not gonna grow in business, straight up. You are grown up, and you are capable of looking at things that scare you. So I said to myself, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna learn business accounting once and for all. And I do what a lot of people do. I made a massive mistake that a lot of people make in personal development, which is I decided that I needed to grow, and so I looked outside myself and decided to do how they had grown. So I need to learn accounting. I'm like, I'm going to take an online accounting course, and just to make sure I've really locked it in, I'm going to take an online accounting course through Harvard Business School. I mean, if you only knew how dumb, like, you can't even. So I'm like, I'm gonna take an online accounting course through Harvard Business School, because if I can tell people that I graduated from Harvard Business School online, I will prove to the world that I am smart enough, right? So I signed up for this class, which PS is super expensive. Sorry if anybody works at Harvard. Super expensive, and I start taking the class and I'm going through this coursework and I'm getting good grades on the tests and I'm doing well, and then about halfway through, I'm starting to really stress out, because to do this well in this class means that I'm taking a ton of time away from my business, and the whole point was to try and help my business. So about halfway through, I asked myself, do I actually know anything more about business accounting than when I started this? And the answer is no. I know how to take a test. I'm really good at taking tests, but I have no idea how to apply this knowledge to my business. So I realize I gotta drop out. So I drop out of Harvard Business School, and don't worry, you do not get your money back if you leave. And then I needed to ask a better question. Right now, some of you need to ask better questions. Some of you are grappling with feelings of not enough in your business, and you need to stop obsessing. You need to stop allowing that voice to run wild and think of all the ways you're not gonna measure up, and instead ask yourself, is there a way that I can figure this out. So for me, whatever you're struggling with, whatever the feeling of not enough is, the antidote is always a truth that makes this obsolete. Let me say it again. The answer is always an antidote that makes this obsolete. So, I couldn't just say, like people say, like, oh, say a mantra. I can't jump up and down 100 times and say, like, I'm smart enough, I'm smart enough, I'm smart enough, and suddenly know accounting. But I had to find a truth that made this obsolete, and my truth was this: I have always figured it out. I have always figured it out. Anything that I wanted to know about in business, I taught myself. How to be a mama, I figured it out. How to be in relationship with my husband, I figured it out. How to write a book, I figured it out. Rachel, you always figured it out. So right now, the question is not, are you smart enough? The question is, can you figure it out? And the answer was, do it the way someone else does it. Personal development is supposed to be personal to you. And so I ask myself, how have I learned things in the past? And for me, every single thing I know starts with Google. It does. Everything I know. How did I build the company? Everything. Google, YouTube videos, podcasts, books from the library, going to conferences like this one. That is how I learned to be in business. You don't come to something like this and just get all of the answers. You come to something like this and get 2 answers. And then you go read a book and you get another answer. And then you try something else, but the answers are out there. And so for me, I did it all. I read the books, listened to podcasts, I went to conferences. And then finally, I was at a business conference and I would go sit in the front for all the all the lectures on accounting. And this one time, I go sit down front and this man's speaking on stage. And this is not an ad, but his name's Keith Cunningham, just in case you ever get to see him or you struggle with this too. He has books. But I sit down front and it's literally called like Business Accounting for Idiots. And he's explaining a P&L and he's explaining a balance sheet and he's explaining, and I'm sobbing. Like I am sitting in the front row like a crazy person, sobbing. And I'm sure he was like, someone get security, this girl is crazy right now. Because who in the world cries about an accounting course? Someone who thought she wasn't smart enough to ever understand it. Because that knowledge, y'all, that is the key to the kingdom. Whatever it is that you want to do, professionally or personally, knowledge is the answer to your insecurity. The fear and the insecurity that drives you, that keeps you from trying new things, that makes you afraid of failure, all of those things that you do while you're looking at her Instagram because you're not really sure what you're supposed to do, knowledge is the answer to your insecurity. And there is a huge difference between arming yourself with knowledge and checking out her life. Does that make sense? But you can clap. The answer to your not enough is an antidote that makes it untrue. And what drives me insane, this idea of like the knowledge is there, what drives me absolutely insane is that it's there and you know it's there, but you don't get it. So I heard people shout out, they're like, I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to use social media, or I'm not sure how to sell, or I feel insecure, I don't know how to add new clients, I don't know how to get new customers. All of the things that you're saying, the answers exist right now on the internet for free. For free. In an age of this much free information, your ignorance is a choice. You might be the problem. You might be why you're not where you want to be, but oh my gosh, it means you're also the solution. And that doesn't mean that you run out tomorrow and you try and research everything. You're like, yes, here's the 27 things I need to change and I'm gonna go after them all and I'm gonna do it. Because in about a week, you're gonna be overwhelmed and you're gonna quit everything, right? You find one thing. You need to ask yourself this question while you are here. What is the one piece of information? Listen to me. What is the one piece of information that if I get it while I'm here, everything in my business changes? What's the one thing, which is also a great book, by the way, called One Thing. What is the one thing that would change everything? And that's going to be different for everybody here. Because for some of you, the one thing is that you need to know a business aspect that she could teach you. For some of you, the one thing is you need to get emotionally healthy because you're drowning in anxiety and that keeps you from doing anything. For some of you, the one thing is finances. For some of you, the one thing is taking care of yourself. For some of you, the one thing is being loving of yourself and calming the heck down. There's like 10 of us in this room who need to calm down and take a nap. And we hate it when you're like, if what I just said made you angry, I'm talking to you. Right? Guys, figure out the one thing. Because if you know what the one thing is, you can get the answer. Right? If you aim at nothing, you're here and you're like who came here knowing no matter what, I'm getting an answer to this question before I leave? Right? Rarely do we do that. It's like, I don't go to Target knowing what I want. I go to Target and Target tells me what I want. Y'all came in here going, I don't know what I want. Leadership's gonna tell me. And you're gonna leave here and you feel excited and you got to go to a luau. And you got to hang out with your friends, and you got to see the staticky blazer for an hour, and you will be no closer to changing the thing that would change everything, right? You got to know what it is, because if you know what it is, you can get the answer. Because if you know the question, you could say to your group, you could say to your community, hey, you guys, you know what I'm struggling with really hard? I live in a small town, and I feel like I've tapped out all my resources. Anyone live in a small town and feel like there's no one else to talk to? Yeah. Let me ask a flip. Anyone live in a small town and you're crushing it? Yeah. Most of the time when I talk to people who live in small towns who are crushing it, they've figured out some other ways to sell besides selling to their neighbors. And if you know that that's your one thing, then you go talk to that chick that just raised her hand and yelped. She didn't just raise her hand, she was like, woo! Go talk to Becky. Becky has the answer. But if you don't know what the question is, you can't get to her. Does that resonate? Does that resonate?
Yeah!
Guys, you have so much potential inside of you. And beyond that, you are more blessed than most of the world's population. So blessed. You're drowning in anxiety, or maybe you're unsure, or you don't know what happens next, or you feel like you don't belong here, or you don't deserve this, or who am I, or someone's judging you. Anyone have someone right now who's actively judging them for being at something like this? Yeah. And keep your hand up real quick. Of the people who are judging you, how many of them have ever actually been to something like this? Exactly. There are all of these things that you're worried about. There's all this stuff, and we don't take a minute to just sit in how freaking blessed we are to be in this room right now.
Yeah.
Right now, in this city, mamas don't know how they're gonna feed their kids tonight. Right now, in your town, people are sleeping on the streets in winter, right now. And you are in Atlanta, in this beautiful space, getting poured into, getting filled up. You're gonna, who has a good outfit for the luau? You're ready, right? Who ordered Rent the Runway? You're ready. Yeah? You laugh because you know it's true. You're so blessed to be here right now, and you're so worried about all these other things. Can I, will I, am I, is this what, she, who? And you don't take a minute to just acknowledge the blessing that this is. And I'm not speaking from a like, oh, blessing, whatever. I'm talking, you are a small business owner. And small business owners are the backbone of this country. And that is something to be proud of. I get the opportunity to hang out with people like you all the time, and when I talk to people, they're not doing these businesses because they want to own a yacht. They're doing these businesses because they want to take their kids on vacation this summer.
Yeah.
They're doing these businesses because they want to be able to pay for private school.
Yeah.
They're doing these businesses because they want a car payment. They want to alleviate the load. They want to help their families. Y'all are living in fear of growing your business or asking for a sale or telling people about what you're doing. This is something to be proud of. This is a blessing. This is not something to apologize for. You have so much potential. You have so much potential inside of you. And right now you're unsure, and right now you don't know, and right now you're like, what? There is so much potential. And that potential inside of you, that is your gift from your Creator. Yeah. And I can't think of anything worse than you dying with that potential left in you because you were worried about what other people would think of you for stepping into who you are.
Yeah.
Those people that are judging you, those people that are challenging you, the mean girls or your mother-in-law, whoever's thinking or saying things about you right now, they are not the ones who will get to the end of their life and live with the regret of what if. They are not the ones who will watch the other families go on vacation this summer. If you want something different in your life, then you have to live life in a way that's different from everybody else. You are in this room because you worked to be here. Acknowledge that. Acknowledge that. And here's the other thing. You are in this room so that you can be filled up, so that you can leave here excited and empowered to go home and love your babies and support your friends and support your team and teach people. You are here so that you can go be a light to others. Who here feels like their cup's getting filled back up? Your mission is to take the way that you are filling and spread it out in the community around you. That is why you are called to leadership. That is what it looks like to lead well. And I love and honor you guys for being in this space, and I can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you so much.